We're back on Morning Trade Live. It is a good day to be a PayPal shareholder. The company is rallying this morning after beating earnings estimates, lifting guidance, initiating a dividend and announcing a partnership with OpenAI to provide payment services in ChatGPT. The stock had been down more than 15% in 2025 before this morning's move, which is up almost 12% right now. So PayPal is the focus of the morning trade. Joining us for a closer look at this name is Schwab Network's host, Marley Caden. So once again, you mentioned OpenAI in a press release and your stock price goes up. So what are your sort of major takeaways from the flurry of news and announcement we've heard from PayPal today, Marley?
Good morning, Sam. Yes, a flurry of news is a great way to cover it. When I was trying to prep for our talk here, there's so much to cover. So first, let's just start with their earnings and the street response. The shares are up more than 12% right now, a significant beat on earnings. Before we talk about this OpenAI partnership, they had profits of $1.34 per share. That bested estimates for $1.21 by a considerable amount. Revenue also climbed 7% to $8.4 billion. That topped expectations. Venmo's Q3 revenue also rose by 20%. In the quarter, their total payment volume processed from customers climbed 8%. That was much better than expected as well. And another key financial metric that's important for PayPal, transaction margin dollars, that was up 6% to $3.87 billion, and that bested estimates for $3.78 billion. For PayPal, that number represents the profit that it makes from each individual payment transaction it processes. So it's a very key metric that's watched. Additionally, in the third quarter, PayPal also saw its active users increase by 1% to 438 million. Now, you also mentioned that they raised some of their guidance going forward. For the current quarter, they expect their EPS in a range of $1.27 to $1.31, which was slightly below. At the midpoint, the estimate was calling for 131, but the street doesn't seem to mind that. Still in range. For the full year, though, they upped their guidance range for EPS to $5.11 to $5.15, up from previous guidance of $4.90 to $5.05. So a big jump there. But let's get to this OpenAI deal, because like you said, you put OpenAI in a headline and we see a massive move to the upside. No different here for PayPal. They have a deal with OpenAI now to have its digital wallet embedded into ChatGPT. So if you're a user on ChatGPT, you're searching for something that you want to find, asking the AI tool what you can get for a children's toy this Christmas for an 8-year-old girl, PayPal button will be soon available for you to just hit it and check out there. That'll be starting next year, though. Won't be available for this Christmas, but it's both sides of the PayPal ecosystem here. This is a particularly important part of this. PayPal users can purchase things through the AI platform, but its merchants can also sell on there. So they can have their inventory listed when you search on ChatGPT. So it is a dual ecosystem performance here. This is a part of PayPal and OpenAI's early effort to broaden their e-commerce strategy, as they're saying that this AI agentic shopping is going to have a huge uptick. They've already had announcements for Shopify and Etsy with OpenAI, and then we had Walmart come out a week or two ago, and ChatGPT has about 800 million weekly users. So a big audience there that will be shopping. Analysts continue to focus on PayPal's branded business. That's a very big focus for them. Its online checkout button and that digital wallet, as they worry about share loss to Apple Pay. So this will be a big helper there. Branded checkout growth did come in line with estimates for the third quarter. But I also want to mention this last piece. There's so much to cover here, that PayPal now has a 14-cent per share dividend. The board approved the initiation of a quarterly cash dividend program. So any shareholders of record by November 19th will be eligible for that declared cash dividend of 14 cents per share on common stock, and that will be payable on December 10th of this year. Sam?
I guess this is sort of announcement that PayPal really needed to accompany that earnings report, given, of course, what we've seen as far as the share performance. But as you mentioned, and giving some perhaps personal examples there, Marley, it very much reminds me of talking to Jenny about this this morning, the WeChat, the super app that is ubiquitous over in China, and it very much looks like ChatGPT is trying to sort of move into what is sort of more like a super app with integrating some of these platforms, which is such a fascinating story. So thank you so much for getting us across that one today for us at Marley. Let's trade it now with Tim Biggin, options strategist at Pilot AI. Tim, how are you approaching your example trade for this one?
Yeah, this certainly, the actual earnings came out pretty solid, very nice beat top and bottom line both, as you alluded to. Guidance actually a little bit light, but as always, it seems like after every earnings report, companies are announcing an AI initiative, relationship, whatever it may be. So I think you'll see a reaction similar to kind of what we saw in Walmart, where they came out and said, yeah, we're going to be doing a very similar thing using AI. You saw the stock rip higher on that news, trade a little bit higher, then eventually kind of pull back here. So I think certainly some of the move today is justified given the earnings beat, right? The guidance miss maybe tempers that a little bit. We'll see how AI plays out here. And now they're bringing in agentic AI, another buzzword here. So I just look for the stock to maybe retrace some of the red hot gains today. So I'm just going out with a simple calendar spread trade, buying traditional November 75 puts, slightly out of the money, about $2 and change below where PayPal is trading, and then selling next week's 75 puts, only paying about 60-some cents for that trade. More importantly, capturing a still very nice term structure vol, paying about a 41 IV, selling almost a 50 IV. So we're seeing some IVs stay in the shares given the move short term. Everyone, as always, tends to flood into the shorter term options. I like to take advantage of that by selling those, hedging with something a little further out that's less, if you will, inflated.
Okay, a good look at PayPal there. What are your overall thoughts on the markets today? I mean, we just touched a record high once again this morning in the S&P 500, but we do look a little bit mixed, suffice to say, across the major averages today. Even somewhat a bit range bound. It looks like a little bit directionless, you could say, ahead of what is going to be a massive next couple of days. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. The next 2 days will absolutely, I think, tell the story. We're seeing, 5 of the biggest stocks reporting earnings. And it's not so much how they report as how they guide down the road. And we'll see what the market reaction to is. If you told me the earnings and guidance now, I might not be able to tell you how these stocks would react given the valuations. For the time being, stock valuations also at all-time highs for the most part. But no one really seems to care simply because the growth story is unfettered. But at some point, valuations do matter. So we'll see how it plays out. The Fed, I think, is not even a big part of the equation. 25 bips absolutely priced in already. So if they do come out post-Fed and talk maybe about easing further, that might give the market a little bit of a tailwind. But I think all said, it's going to come down to those 5 earnings reports and how the market reacts to that.
Oh, absolutely. Pretty much baked in at this stage as far as what the Fed is going to do. I suppose it's what they say, to your point, Tim. Thank you so much, as always. Really nice to see you today, Tim. Tim Bigham, who is the options strategist at Pilot AI.